We be live. Hi, everyone. We're here with Roy. Hi, Roy.
Hi, Armin. Hi, everybody.
Hi, and also with Gene. Gene is in the background highlighting people's comments. So please leave a lot of comments and also confirm that you have liked the stream because we need more people to know how to respond to all this anti-Israeli nonsense, because it seems like most people don't know how to respond to them. I mean, even when I sit in debates, I'm like, why didn't he say that? Why didn't he say? But I have a live stream, so I could do a show and I respond to it myself. But
that's why I wanted to
also,
join this live stream.
Yes. Also, Roy, thank you for cutting up this video with only the Mohammed Hijab parts, because the entire video was too long for us to do on a live stream. But now we can do it. So, what are we watching, Roy? Can you explain to people what are we watching?
Yes, there's a debate in Piers Morgan show, a debate between Mohammed Hijab and Dershowitz. What is his first name? Do you remember? He's a lawyer, Dershowitz,
Alan?
the lawyer.
Alan, I think. Yeah.
Alan Dershowitz, yeah, Alan Dershowitz. And Mohammed Hijab was a genius here. I mean, he left me speechless. I'm now anti-Israel.
At first, I was like, why are Piers and Alan just letting him say all of this nonsense? Like, why are they not responding to him? But then I thought, actually, no, it was good because it was so much insanity that I think a lot of people should have seen how pathetic this guy is in a debate. But given that Piers and Alan didn't respond to him, we should respond to him. Oh, by the way, for people who don't know who Roy is a Zionist. So get him. Like, but I'm saying, is an Israeli Zionist. Wait, how do you want to introduce yourself? I'm just kidding, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a Zionist. I'm an Israeli. I like this channel very much, so I like to support it.
Oh, you do?
Where I can. Yeah. Of course, this is the support right here.
Yes. Okay. I have because of this channel, I have so many friends in Israel. So next time I go to Israel, it's going to be a lot of fun because I think there's going to be a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's get to this video. By the way, thank you guys in the live chat. Everybody saying, everybody is being very nice to Roy. And welcoming Roy, saying hi to Roy. And guys, make sure you like the stream as well so that the channel grows. And Sarah is here as well. Sarah saying hi, Roy. All right. Anyways, let's and again, thank you to Jean for highlighting everyone's comments. Let's watch this, see what the hell's going on, and the insanity. This is so embarrassing, but I think there's a purpose to it. Like a lot of what we watch Mohammed Hijab and we think like, who the hell is a fan of this guy? But let's watch it and see how it goes, okay?
And unless Hamas is told, no, you failed, the world will not reward you for this, we're just going to see a continuation of the bloodshed in the Middle East, which does not serve the interests of the Palestinians nor the Israeli people.
Okay, Mohammed Hijab, your response to that?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that wherever we see suffering, wherever we see death and destruction, especially of young people, assault, sexual assault, we see Dershowitz to the rescue, the former defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, a man himself accused of rape.
I knew we would get to that. I
didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I stayed quiet when you were talking.
Okay, here's what I would say.
I stayed quiet when you were talking.
Hang on. Here's what I would say.
To the merits.
I didn't give you permission.
Listen, Mohammed, attacking.
This is absolute insanity. He's a defense lawyer. Of course, he's going to defend bad people. What do you want? You want to live in a society where people you don't like don't get defense lawyers? That's how the legal system, that's how the law works in a democratic society. Everyone gets to defend themselves in the court of law, including horrible people. And he's just doing his job. Yeah.
Even more important than that, we talked about Superman before we went out, but maybe if Muhammad will take his glasses off, you will see that he's Captain ad hominem, right? I mean, what does this have to do with anything? It could be Hitler sitting here, but listen to what he says, not to who he is.
Yeah, look, exactly. Look how empty he is with actually good points that You know, we're talking about people dying, right? You want to defend Palestinians? You want to defend Israel? Is Israel this great evil that is committing genocide? This is your opening? You talk about the guy doing his job as a defense lawyer? This is your first line? Does that not show how empty they're? Roy, does that not show you? Because I usually start with my strongest, like my most important point.
Yeah.
To me, it shows that these people have nothing over Israel. That we're talking about war in Gaza, we're talking about war in Lebanon. This guy is trying to justify Israel and defend Israel. Your opening line is, "Oh yeah, this guy who is a defense lawyer has been doing his job." That's your opening line. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He's even disingenuous about this because Alan Dershowitz once said that he was proud that he defended, I don't know, some pervert. So, but he was proud because he was proud that about the second amendment. I don't remember which amendment. The amendment that says that you need to be represented, that he is fulfilling this. This is what he was proud about, not that he's proud to give defense to a pervert. So
I mean, you should, even if he said that, yes, you should be proud of doing your job. You should be proud that you live in a society that the worst in society get a lawyer, and you as a lawyer will be objective. You as a lawyer will be doing your job, and you as a lawyer will put emotions aside, and you as a lawyer are so professional that you would try to keep out of your mind your emotions regarding how disgusting this person is, and do your job as professionally as possible. If you like a doctor, for example, if you bring a murderer into a hospital and he's doing surgery, if the doctor is doing surgery on this murderer and he does his job perfectly and professionally, he gets to say, "I am so proud of myself that I didn't let my emotions get in the way of doing my job as a professional and doing the surgery on this man, even though he's a disgusting scumbag," right?
We saw Israeli doctors. We saw Israeli doctors saying it against with terrorists, saying exactly that.
Yes. You should be proud of your job, even if you have to defend a disgusting person. That's how a democratic society works. That's why liberal democracies are more advanced, because of these practices, because of these principles. And Hijab doesn't understand that. And let's just continue.
A lawyer for defending people is a stupid argument.
Well, right? I'm not making an argument yet.
Well, you're just using an
I'm not making an argument.
attack straight off the top.
Has he got leverage on you? Is that
no, he's a brilliant
lawyer. I saw your picture with Maxwell. He's got leverage on you.
He's a brilliant.
Has he have leverage on you? So Piers is making the point that what the hell is this argument? You're telling a defense lawyer why he defended the criminal, and Mohammed Hijab is not even attempting to make a logical argument. It's like, oh, has he got leverage on you? Does he have like sexual, like videos of you with Epstein and stuff? But go on, Roy. Yeah.
Even what between the two of them, who do you think has more leverage for him being here? I mean, I think Mohammed Hijab has more leverage because he's got many viewers and, you know, he's bringing clicks. So he has, in de facto, more leverage on Piers Morgan than Dershowitz.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think, I don't know what you mean, because I thought by leverage he means like, does he
of course he means like of course, like a dirty video. But if anyone has some sort of leverage, it's Mohammed Hijab.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like, he's not even attempting to make a logical argument. Yeah. And to be honest, I think it works for him. Like, even, you don't even have to, Roy, here's an interesting thing, okay? I looked at the comment section on Piers Morgan, okay? You don't even have to go to Mohammed Hijab's channel and read the comments to look at people celebrating Mohammed Hijab. The vast majority of the comments on Piers Morgan's channel are celebrating Mohammed Hijab, because this tactic, it might not be logical, but it works. Mohammed Hijab has figured out what works with the audience. He's not trying to be logical because it doesn't matter. He just has to be entertaining, and he also has to just bully people around and the people would clap for that. It's a circus. It's a circus. That's what it is. And he knows how to be a good entertainer. Yeah. But I mean, guys, go look at the comment section on this video. The comments are like, oh, Piers Morgan all of a sudden had nothing to say once Mohammed Hijab mentioned Epstein. Like, oh, he's right. He hit that's a sensitive spot. They must have done something on Epstein Island or whatever. Like,
I thought you were going to say that the comments would be like, oh, look how he's trolling them. But you're saying that they think it's smart.
Yeah, no, people are like, oh, Mohammed Hijab hit the nail. Yeah. Oh my God, he got him. Good job, Mohammed Hijab. That's what they're saying.
Lawyer.
Are you saying that because he's got...
No, people are saying Mohammed Hijab's audience loved that. Guys, I'm talking about even the comments on Piers Morgan's channel, not even on Mohammed Hijab's channel. On Piers Morgan's channel. Yeah. No. To be honest, Piers Morgan's audience, comment section, always hate Piers Morgan for defending Israel. Not even defending Israel, for not condemning Israel, right? So I think a lot of people hate Israel so much that you don't have to make logical sense. You just have to be against the people who are trying to defend Israel in any ways, and then people will think that you're making the right points. That's all. Yeah. Anyways, it's good.
I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch.
You look very happy with her.
Well, I didn't know anything about her at the time, other than she was the daughter of the man that
We're talking about the biggest sexual scandal in the last 100 years.
Who I never met Jeffrey Epstein or ever knew him. Alan Dershowitz was wrongly accused of various things in relation to Jeffrey Epstein.
How do you know it's wrongly?
Because they've all been...
Why are you defending him?
They all turned out to be nonsense. He won a court case about it.
Why are you not looking at me when I'm speaking to you?
Well, I can turn to you, but there are 3 of us involved in this.
Yeah, you're speaking to me, so
okay, let me make things clear.
I'm talking about
Look, there's not...
media, like,
he's looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Oh he's looking at the camera. Oh my God, like, what the again, this is just a circus. This is just entertainment. This is no attempt at making it like, oh, why are you defending him? Well, because he has seen the evidence that the accusations against him was wrong. Like, oh, why are you defending him? Does he have leverage over you?
In the court of law, he won.
Yeah, exactly. You just like, how do you know he's innocent? Like, he won in the court of. It's just mudslinging. It's just mudslinging with no attempt for evidence, no attempt from logic for making any logical arguments.
Person who, after the fact, said that he was proud to defend him after the allegations come out. You still wanted to? Do you condemn Dershowitz
for what?
For defending Epstein.
Do you want me to?
Why are you not looking at me?
For lawyering.
Because I'm looking at the 3 of us.
I'm right here.
I can turn to you, and then the viewers see me and you looking at
me man to man. In the first interaction.
Look at me man to man. Oh my God, this is a pathetic. He's trying so hard to be alpha. He's not exactly. The point is not to be right. The point is not to discover the truth. The point is to win. The point is to look strong. The point is to look alpha. That's again, given that his audience are a bunch of toxic, young boys that are looking for a warrior, he knows his audience. A lot of people think Mohammed Hijab is an idiot. Mohammed Hijab is not an idiot. Mohammed Hijab knows his audience. Mohammed Hijab knows his audience are a bunch of teenage boys looking for a warrior to support, and they just want him to go into battle and act like an alpha male and crush his enemies. And they can't even tell the difference between a logical argument and not very logical argument. And all they're looking for is how it looks, rather than and he's doing it. It's working for him. His audience is growing very fast with this performance. So why should he stop? Anyways.
So me and you were talking about October the 7th. We spent about 3 or 4 minutes actually talking about sexual assault allegations, if you remember that. And actually here, what we have is Israeli soldiers like Mir from Unit 100, and that's on The Guardian, it's on Sky News, it's on all these kinds of platforms, coming out, and there's videographic evidence of him raping another man. I haven't heard condemnation from you, and I don't expect to...
I heard... What are you talking about? I heard condemnation from Piers Morgan. I haven't heard a condemnation from you, and I don't expect a condemnation from Alan. Alan has actually condemned many things from things that I don't condemn. Alan actually condemns the settlements in the West Bank. I don't condemn that. He condemns them. And also, both of these people are the type of people who would condemn the rapes in prison by Israel, by a few Israeli soldiers. They have condemned even many things by Israel. So like, oh, I don't expect. Why would you say that? You don't know these men. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but he didn't hear them, Armin.
Yes, you didn't hear them, so it never happened. That's actually a good
but
point.
his God exists. His God exists, but he didn't hear them, so this didn't happen.
right. Wait, so by the way, Roy, in Israel, people in the live chat from Israel, I know a lot of Israelis watch our show. So people in the live chat have, those soldiers who raped the Palestinian prisoners in Israel. Do a lot of Israelis condemn that? Like, what is?
Yeah, of course. So, look, some of them, when you see people that defend or saying it should happen, people say, why they were like horrible terrorists. So my point is, I don't really care about the terrorists. I don't want my soldiers to do the graping. I don't care about the terrorists. I hope they die and suffer. But the graping should not happen because of our soldiers. So many people think like me, but basically the right side are more defensive of this. But yeah, there are a lot of people who are criticizing it. Not as much as I would want.
Yeah. By the way, sorry, Gene. Me and Gene are trying to highlight the same comment, so this comment keeps getting highlighted. Sorry, Gene.
Like opening the door and locking it from the inside.
Yes. So here's the thing. I know there are crazy people in Israel, like we have crazy people in every freaking country. Every country has its own fair share of crazy people, right? So we have some people in Israel that are defending the soldiers who raped the prisoners, right? And anti-Israeli people are like, oh, look at that. Like, oh, really? You want to condemn Israel because they have bad people? Then you have to condemn every single freaking country in the world, because every country has those. Like, oh, look, Armin, you say Israelis condemn the rape, but look at these people. I didn't say every single Israeli condemns it. I said a lot of Israelis condemn it. I didn't say every single one of them. I didn't say Israel doesn't have bad people. Of course it has bad people. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Now, Armin, do you condemn the rape because you care about the terrorists for their well-being? Is that why you condemn the rape?
Wait, I do condemn. No.
Do you condemn it because you care about the terrorists? You want them to be happy, or what is the reason that you condemn this kind of rape?
Well, because I am for the rule of law. I am for certain principles that make society better.
It's not like your heart aches for the poor terrorists. It's not like that.
Right, but I also don't want people to suffer for the sake of suffering. If people are being punished, is for deterring signals to the rest of society. I don't think like evil people should be punished for our satisfaction. I think evil people should be punished to signal other people not to do the same thing. I think like it's not the point. Is not revenge.
Around,
the point
right?
is deter. Yes, the point should not, I think, be revenge. The point should be deterrence.
Yeah,
I think Yeah.
Exactly.
But anyways, let's continue. Oh, by the way, Mortal Wombat bought 5 YouTube memberships for people in the live chat. Thank you.
Nice.
I will never get tired of saying Mortal Wombat. I love that user.
Mortal Wombat.
Yeah. All right, let's continue.
Hear it from him who defended Epstein. Well, this shows you the bias in the coverage for a year. Well, we know the ICJ have said that there's a plausible genocide.
You haven't been watching my show.
I think I have.
Yeah, so he's saying you guys would not condemn those rape. I'm just going to say rape because he said it anyways. But he said you haven't been watching my show. Yeah, you're just making stuff about you're making claims. By the way, hold on.
For a year. Well, we know the ICJ have said that there's a plausible genocide.
You haven't been watching.
The ICJ has just said the only thing the ICJ said is that this is worth looking into. It doesn't. The standard for looking into something is not at all suggesting that this is true with a high probability. When they say there's plausible, for example, let's say Roy accuses me of theft, and he takes me to court. When the court is agreeing to hear this, They're saying this is plausible enough for us to hear this case. It doesn't. It's not at all a judgment on whether or not I actually done the theft. So the standard is for actually hearing a case by the ICJ is actually very, very low. The plausibility has to be very, very low. A lot of people don't understand that. Yeah. So let's continue.
Watching my show.
I think I have.
No, you haven't.
Have you spoken about me?
You're talking complete bullshit.
Okay, tell me why.
Right?
Tell me why.
Because I did condemn what you've just talked about in a previous debate.
Good.
Right?
Dershowitz.
He says good. He doesn't say, "Oh, I'm sorry for making a false accusation." He says good, completely ignoring just a couple of seconds ago, saying you won't condemn it. I don't expect him to condemn it. You just made a false accusation. He corrected you. The answer, your response shouldn't be, "Oh, good." The response should be, "I am sorry. I am an idiot, and I made a false accusation, and I have no idea what I'm talking about." That's what he should have said. But
you're going to see very, very, very nearly that it's going to suffer from things like that. It's going to get something. Yeah, I'll tell you when.
Yes. Okay, let's continue then.
Do you condemn it?
Yes, of course. I condemn any rape of anybody.
He said yes, of course. And then Mohammed Hijab, why did you say I do not expect him? Shouldn't you apologize for it? And here's the thing, it's so weird that he doesn't even know these people. I mean, I watched some Piers Morgan. I have seen Alan on some debates before. I know enough that this is so easy for them to condemn. Like, did Mohammed Hijab honestly think that Piers and Alan are going to come here and be like, "No, we do not condemn rape of Palestinian prisoners. We do not condemn that"? Like, that's his expectation? Like, what are you? Oh my God. This guy.
People remember the beginning more than the replies. He says, "You wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do this," and that's it. That's because he's shouting it. Yes. That leaves an impression.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. But they don't see the defeat. Like, here's the thing: when you are humiliated, when your ass is handed to you so spectacularly like this, and when you're embarrassed in front of an audience, what Mohammed Hijab has discovered, what you have to do is to just stand strong, keep showing a defiant face, act like nothing has happened, act like you're still the winner, and the audience will judge who's winning based on appearances, right? They see your confidence, they see your tone, and they think, well, he's not winning. Look at him. I mean, he's not losing. Look at him. He's obviously the winner here. He knows if he stands defiant. This is exactly what Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Islamic Republic is doing right now, right? Israel is like taking out all their leaders. They come destroying a huge percentage of their arsenal. And they're like, "Oh, we are winning. Israel is being humiliated. We will annihilate Israel." That's exactly the Islamic model. Just act like you're always winning, even if you're losing, because it's all about appearances. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
In any assault on anybody who's in captivity.
And you also condemn the right of rape protest that took place in Israel. And you acknowledge that there's a problem in Israel with this.
Place, they will be investigated. They will be fully investigated. They will be court-martialed.
Do you acknowledge that there's a problem in Israeli society?
If anybody is convicted of that,
there's a problem.
Look, so he's just moving. He's just moving. Do you acknowledge that there's a problem? So he's just moving. So he's trying to distract. He's moving the goalposts. Like, "Hey, Roy, I will accuse you of beating your wife." Like, "Well, actually, I have cameras in my home, and my wife is happy with me, and I have evidence that never happens." Like, "Well, Roy, do you acknowledge that there's a problem in your family? You have problems in your family." Like, what the hell? You just made an accusation that you have no evidence for, and now you're just trying to distract the audience by moving to something else. Like,
also,
do you acknowledge that there's a problem?
He's talking about a demonstration that had a few thousand people in it. So it's not the Israeli society that is defending the soldiers.
But protests in a country shows the health of a society. The fact that you have
3 million Israelis were protesting in defense of the soldiers, that would be interesting, right? Okay, what's going on here? but it was a few thousand people. It's not like it's not
mean,
this
it was.
problem
I
in
mean,
society.
I see a society that has protest, a healthy society. Okay, I think like Israel, even if you're an Israeli that disagrees with the protesters, as I sometimes disagree with some of the protesters, the fact that you have a culture that people get out when they have complaints with the government, that's a you should welcome that. You should want that, even if you don't agree with them. Yeah.
But it still
So-
depends. You don't want millions of Israelis to support
Yeah, no,
rape.
no, yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, you're talking about the pro-rape.
Yeah, the
protest
pro-rape
that you're
demonstration.
talking about?
Yeah, the protest. It was a
Oh,
very
yeah.
small
Okay.
one.
Yes, that was a very small. Okay, I completely misunderstood what you said. I thought you were
sorry.
talking about the other larger, because I was like, what are you
No,
talking
no.
about? Is he talking? I thought you were talking about those huge, large protests that people
No,
came
no.
against Netanyahu and the whole idea of like removing the wall between the parliament and the judiciary. I thought you were talking to. I was like, that was not a small protest. That was a giant protest.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you're
no, it
talking
was
about the smaller protests regarding people defending the soldiers. Okay,
yeah.
that's
Someone
what
in the comments says maybe the demonstrations were about the innocence of the soldiers. Yeah, it could be. I don't remember.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
like
I don't
that.
think. Yeah, but based on what I've seen, the protesters were not like.
Yeah.
I mean, they're wrong. I don't agree with the protesters. I think a lot of the people who are protesting, they're like, there's no proof that the soldiers did this, even though we have videos of it.
Yeah. They said that they
But they're not
shouldn't be
saying-
arrested. That's what they said.
Okay, but
Yeah,
they're wrong. Anyways, we don't agree.
they're wrong. Of course, they should be arrested. And like everything, if there's a something, you arrest them and you check it out. Of course.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I mean, if he wants to refer to protests like he should as something as a problem in society, then we could also refer to all the pro-Hamas protests in the UK that he also supports, right? So you're like, oh my God, look, there's a problem in Israeli society because some people came into the streets and they were protesting in defense of the soldiers that did the rape. Like, okay, yeah, that's a problem. However, what you yourself, Mohammed Hijab, took part in protests in UK in defense of Hamas,
Yeah.
who raped many Israelis on October 7th. So you were part of a bigger like pro-rape march, like compared to that one. Anyways, let's continue.
They deserve their
Do you
punishment. I
acknowledge
don't
that there's a
defend
problem with
What about the
Rape.
problem with Hamas
Sure.
raping women?
I have no compunction.
Oh, that's it. That was my point. Piers. Yes, exactly. You support
October
Hamas.
7th.
I have no compunction condemning Hamas for anything that they've done. You've said that. You've asked me before, and I've told you before. I have no moral scruples.
No. He's not, like this is a sneaky way that they get around. They don't actually condemn Hamas, right?
Of course.
So every time you ask him to condemn Hamas, they say if Hamas has done certain things, we will condemn those things.
Yeah. Or I don't
Which
have a problem condemning.
I don't have a problem condemning anything that Hamas
Yeah.
does if it's killing of civilians or raping, blah, 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 raping civilians, right? But they never say, I condemn Hamas. They just say, I don't have a problem condemning this, and that action, with the understanding that these accusations to their own fans and followers that I didn't condemn Hamas because we don't believe that Hamas does this to civilians. And Israelis are not civilians anyways. They're militant occupiers, every single one of them, given that they serve in the military, right?
Yeah. Do
So
you condemn Hamas?
remember, every time...
Sorry, I can
Yeah.
a comment. Do you condemn Hamas? I condemn bad things.
Yes,
That's why
I
they-
condemn anybody who murders civilians. Like, so you never actually hear the phrase, I condemn Hamas. Just pay attention to that, guys. If you actually hear the phrase, I condemn Hamas, they say, I will condemn anybody that does this. And with the
Yeah.
understanding that, well, Hamas hasn't done that thing. Yeah.
Neither do the majority of the Muslim world. I tell you now, anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned in the first instance. But we're not seeing the same level of coverage.
Anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned. There's no record of them saying we condemn Hamas. Anything that Hamas has done, and again, they go and say on October 7th, the Israeli civilians that died, these people say it was killed by Israel's military itself. They say Israel did that to their own civilians, and there's always an if there. There's always an if there. If Hamas has done that. But let's continue.
With Hamas, as we are seeing, with these people that are shoving rods off people's ass and raping people on videographic evidence, and you have 3,000 people, you talk about the hostages, you've got 3,000 people in essentially captivity, according to Human Rights Watch and B'Tselem, who are prisoners of war of Israel, and we're spending a fraction of the time speaking about them as compared to speaking about the hostages. This shows you the inherent bias.
Well, there's no comparison.
Yeah, there is no comparison because when Hamas goes and commits human rights atrocities, they record it, they brag about it. That was their mission. When it happens in Israel, it's a few soldiers doing something wrong, and the system takes actions against it. One is celebrated, one is the mission, one is the others, but from the Israeli side is some people not following the rules. Okay, so Hamas is actually following the rules when they are committing atrocities. On the Israeli side, when you see human rights violations, that's because the soldiers are not following the rules. That's the main difference.
There's no comparison between innocent hostages who did nothing wrong and people who are being charged with criminal offenses.
They're not charged with criminal offenses. That's why you're meant to know better. You're meant to know better than that.
But they are charged with security
criminal
offenses. But you
They're not charged with criminal offenses.
Compare.
They are arrested without charge.
You can't compare a 3-year-old baby.
They're not charged with criminal offenses.
Don't shout over each other. We can't.
It's war. You can't. You can't arrest 1,000 people and charge them immediately. It never happens during a war.
I think he's using police standards on soldiers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to a police arresting and a soldier arresting, the standards are different. So when we have a soldier abides by a different set of standards than police. So if you're looking at the policing of a city, then you have certain standards that you have to abide by. But when you're talking about a soldier in war, the arrest standards are completely different. Yeah, I think he's mixing them up.
Hear the answer.
Well, he's lying to the public.
Allow him to respond.
Go ahead.
To somebody who's a member of Hamas.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
Alan, we couldn't hear because he was shouting.
I was shouting. Say
Why
again.
didn't
He
you
says
hear
the
him?
3,000.
Yeah.
You can't compare
Alan, he
a
says the
3-year-old
3,000.
baby.
Alan, just to be clear, he said the 3,000 people he's talking about were all arrested without charge, and therefore they've not been charged with crimes. Your response to that?
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge if you're
Good
held
boy.
for security reasons.
What the
What
fuck
is
is
this?
wrong with this man? I mean, boy, he's saying something to agree with. By the way, I think Alan is wrong about this. I think Alan is applying. He's a lawyer. He should know better than me. Maybe I'm wrong about this. But I'll look this up. I don't think soldiers are required when they arresting to charge you like the police does. But even if at the end of the day, Alan is agreeing with Mohammed here, and instead of being like, okay, we agree with this, he's insulting him even on things that they agree with. What do you want him to do then? Like, you're insulting good boy. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of saying that?
He wanted to make it appear like he changed him. Like Dershowitz was about to say something else, but then Mohammed Hijab came and he made him say what he said now. So he's a good boy. That's what's going on here.
But what's the point of saying that?
He's alpha. He's strong and he's winning. That's what's going on here. Everyone is changing their mind because of his pearls of wisdom. That's what's up. If he says good boy, it could only mean that the person who said something before changed his mind because of you. So you say, well, good boy. Now you listen to me. When my dog does something that I asked him, I say, good boy. Right?
What? Hey,
it didn't happen, right? But that's what it make it appear to be.
Roy, I am so proud of myself because Alan Dershowitz is a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
And I just have more legal. I was correct about the legal
That's
thing.
what you look there.
And Alan was wrong. Okay, so here, soldiers in war operate under different rules than police. In war, soldiers don't need to charge individuals before detaining them.
No, he's going to say that.
Their
He's going to say
actions-
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's
Hold
going
on.
to say that.
Their hold on. Their actions are governed by military laws and rules of engagement, often allowing detention without immediate charges if it serves a military objective. Okay, so Mohammed Hijab was wrong about that. If they're arrested without charge, that's not against the rules. But let's see what Alan is saying.
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for a
boy.
security
Don't be so
reason,
pathetic.
I will
during
say
the
what I
war,
want. It's uncensored.
great-
Good boy.
let me
What
finish,
is
please.
pathetic?
Let me
It's
make my
childish.
point.
No, he's going to
Try and have a
say
Can I
proper
make my
debate.
Oh my God, what the?
No, he's going to say that now. Exactly now he's going to say
I'll
that.
say
please.
what I like.
Can I make my point? Let me make my point. Great Britain confined tens of thousands of people without charges during the Second World War.
Two wrongs
The
don't
United
make a
States
right.
did the same.
Two wrongs
I
don't make a right.
was
Should we talk about what
strongly
Hitler done?
opposed.
Let's talk about what
Please
Hitler
let
done.
me make my point.
He's not saying two wrongs make a right. He's talking about the standards in war. Like he doesn't even
Really?
listen to what Alan is saying.
I'm opposed to that. I wrote an article against
Good boy.
administrative detention. But you
Good.
can't.
Oh, so Alan is saying the standard that we have in war that is different from policing. He thinks that's he's against that. Okay. So he thinks
Yeah,
he
good.
doesn't agree with this.
It's his opinion, but
yeah, okay.
It
But even if that's opinion, Israel should not, until you could change that globally, Israel shouldn't be, applying to itself a standard that is nowhere else in the world. If you manage to change the world where soldiers are applying the same standard that police is, when it comes to arresting, then sure, then Israel should abide by that standard as well. But right now, why are we expecting more from Israel than other armies in the world? Like that makes no sense.
because.
compare that no
Good.
matter.
Go on, what?
No, I said because. That's the answer.
Yes.
But you
Good.
can't compare that no
Good.
matter how
Can you
bad
stop
it
this,
is.
Mohammed? It's
You
very
can't
very
compare it
tedious already.
to 3-year-olds being
Debating.
kidnapped, to people
listening to his
being
points.
raped and murdered. You can't compare what happened on October 7th to what Israel has done
Yes, you
in
can't,
terms
because
of
on the one
security
hand,
prisoners.
you've got
There's
30,000
no
people, and the other hand,
comparison
you've got
at all.
about 100.
And stop
That's 30
interrupting me,
times
please.
more.
Now,
That's 30 times more. If you want us to take you seriously, if you want us to take this coverage seriously, if you want us to take
Look at he's like, if you want us to take you seriously, you're the one who's shouting "good boy" and doesn't let Alan make a point. People are taking Alan seriously. You made a fool out of yourself. But you know what? Even though he made a fool out of himself, even though he embarrassed himself, they're going to continue to invite him because this is a circus. This is entertaining to people, apparently. Even if he's not making a point, he just has to come and be an entertaining clown. And Piers might be annoyed by him, and he might go and say, like, you know what, this man is annoying, we shouldn't invite him again. But then they look at the views and like, holy crap, the views are so high, and they will invite him back again. That's how it works.
That's what I said, that if anyone has a leverage, is Mohammed Hijab. If anyone has some kind of leverage, that's him.
That makes sense, yes.
Western media seriously, then let's, for God's sake, talk about proportionality as your favorite word. We're talking about 30,000 people detained in prisons on the one hand, and 100 people who are hostages. And yet we have managed somehow to spend way more time proportionally.
You said 3,000.
Yeah,
The
because that's a hostage and that's a prisoner. That's a different thing.
Yes. I mean, he says it himself. It's amazing. Yeah, you're like, oh, why are we talking about the hostages more than the prisoners? Well, because prisoners deserve to be in prison and hostages shouldn't be hostages. That's the freaking difference.
There are tens of thousands of prisoners in the United States. Why do we always talk about the single ones that are kidnapped as a hostage? What is that about?
Yes. Unbelievable.
1,000 a minute ago. Which one is it? 3,000?
Sorry, 3,000. 3,000. Go
At
ahead.
the moment, Alan Dershowitz is being very civilized in the way he's debating.
I'm sure you're going to say that.
You're just making
He might have
ad hominem
leverage on you.
attacks and shouting all
He's
the
your
time.
friend.
No one can understand it when you
Have
shout
you met him
all the time.
before?
Oh, yeah. So he has leverage over you. It's not because you're acting like a buffoon and he's acting so civilized. That's not why Piers is defending him. It's the only explanation for this could be that he has leverage over Piers. That's the only explanation. Okay, sure.
I know Alan well.
Oh, you know him well.
I respect him very much.
Oh, yes, you do.
He's one of America's top lawyers.
Oh, you do. You know him well. So this is if you have defended Epstein, and now you are friends with somebody who defended Epstein, and you say I know him well, and he's my friend. Oh, that's all the evidence I need.
Yeah.
Oh, you know him very well, don't you? Very well.
This is done.
This-
Let's wrap it up.
This is why these people believe in Islam. Okay, because this is the standard for evidence.
Top lawyers.
Yeah, he
Aha.
is.
Aha. And you're an unbiased person.
Oh, apparently Piers Morgan said that Mohammed Hijab is now banned from his show. People were saying in the chat. I don't know. Is that true? Wow.
That's
Okay.
nice.
That means
That's
Piers
nice.
actually has a standard more than just viewership. Well, good job, Piers.
What did
Yeah,
he say
I
that
hope
was
so.
biased? What did he actually say? I mean, what did he say that was biased? He's just saying you're biased.
Yeah.
He didn't say
Well, he's
anything.
biased towards fairness, I think.
Yeah.
Nonsense,
An
mate.
unbiased person about Alan Dershowitz. Why?
Does he have leverage on you, Piers Morgan?
There's no leverage on me.
Let me be very clear. It's not pointless. He just called me a pervert. He will be sued now
Yeah, that's-
for defamation,
It's
and we will be
defamation,
able
it's
to
it's
resolve
honest
this
opinion. In the
in
UK,
a
we have
court of
different
law. I
definitions of
guarantee you
opinion.
that he will be sued
In
for
my
calling me
understanding,
a
you
pervert.
are a pervert
the woman
because
who
you are
falsely
acquainted with
accused
Jeffrey
me
Epstein.
has now withdrawn her
Sure, I've got my own defamation
accusation
cases. I know the
and
law very well here.
acknowledged that
You
she
can't
may
threaten
have
me. You can't
confused me
threaten
with
I know the
somebody
law very-
else.
The embassy of
I mean,
I have
he
to-
can't threaten you. The guy's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, when it comes to a lawyer threatening you with a lawsuit, I would be concerned if I was you,
Yeah,
Mohammed.
a
Hijab.
super
But
international lawyer. But I have two things about it. First, adding the words in my opinion does not absolves you of anything else you're going to say in the rest of your sentence. If I'm saying just in my opinion, Armin is a serial killer, that's still you can still
Hey,
sue
I
me.
will sue
My
you,
opinion
Roy.
doesn't
I'm
do
coming.
anything. Doesn't do
I'm coming
anything.
after you.
My opinion doesn't absolve you of anything. I would just add my opinion and that's it. And the other thing, if because he had some relations with a pervert, that means he's a pervert. Who does Mohammed Hijab idolize? Doesn't he idolize a pedo rapist Hamad?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
so I guess he wants to sleep with 9-year-old kids, right?
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah. I
just
mean, it's
magic
better
here.
Alan has defended Epstein as a defense lawyer, but he hasn't been celebrating the man.
Yeah.
But Mohammed
He's
Hijab
idolizing.
celebrates Prophet Muhammad, who raped a lot of people. So
Yeah,
you're
he
right,
was
actually,
the
standard.
perfect way to live, right? So who's the
Mhm.
pervert between these two?
Yeah. By the way, guys, so we are free speech maximalists here in this show. We're not free speech absolutists. One limitation and again, this is not a limitation of criminal law. This is a limitation in civil law. If you do defamation on somebody, and that person could show that you were, lying, and it could show you damages. I don't know how he's going to show damages. Like, can Alan prove?
You don't,
I mean,
don't have
this
to-
is based in the
usually
UK.
you don't
so
have
the
to show
standards
damages. Usually the damage is
that's-
just maximizing the maybe the payment, but usually you don't have to show any damages, and you get still like a
Well, the
good.
standards are different in the UK and the US. I think in the UK you could it's easier. The standards are lower, so you could go after Mohammed Hijab easier in the UK. In the US, defamation lawsuits are very difficult to prove.
Yeah.
Right. But in the UK, I guess it's in the UK. We'll see. I hope. Do you think Alan is going to follow through with this lawsuit
course.
and try to? Yeah. Okay. Let's
course.
see. Okay. All right. I would love to see that. Anyways, let's continue.
Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is a proportionate response? Because you see, I've been getting it.
It's occupied Iran. You mean occupied Iran? Yes, the Iranians have the right to defend themselves by toppling the regime. Iran has been occupied by an Islamic regime, and to defend Iran, for Iran to defend itself, right now we need the help of Israel for Iran to defend itself against the Ayatollahs. Yes.
I've been having a moral quandary about the issue.
response. Now, let me explain what proportionality means, because you're missing the point. Proportionality doesn't require that a country that's attack back in proportion. Proportionality only means that if you're going to attack a mixed target that has civilians and combatants, the ratio of civilians to combatants must be proportional to the military value of the target. And that's what Israel has been trying to do. But Iran has killed thousands and thousands of Israeli and Jewish civilians over the years. So to defend somehow Iran and saying that they were innocent.
There is no number for that. This is a hugely debatable topic when it comes to international law.
Yeah,
when you say what ratio is,
but it is saying that if it's a general, you can like do more harm. If it's like a simple soldier, less harm. But it's not like this is five civilians, this is 300 civilians.
So there is no number that has been determined. The idea is that if the target is more important, then a higher ratio is accepted. When it comes to, it's a case by case basis. If a case is being investigated, my understanding is that the judges would not be judging based on the number. The judges would be judging based on what you have done, your justification for how important this target was, and how much effort you put in to reduce civilian casualties. So it's based on the importance of the target and your attempt at the reduction of civilian. It's not based on the actual number. That's how it's judged, and it's a case-by-case basis. So let's continue.
But it's so important what he said, because everyone thinks that you need to retaliate in proportion. So if someone killed 10 people of yours, you can only kill about 10 people of his. That's the proportion that people have in mind.
That's not how it works. That's not how international law works. Yeah. In fact, the standard that we have right now, based on what other countries have been able to achieve, is a 4-to-1 civilian to combatant ratio, and Israel has managed to do 2-to-1 based on the latest numbers in Gaza, right?
In much harsher conditions. Much harsher conditions.
Yes, it's much harsher condition. Israel has managed to actually have a lower ratio, which is unbelievable. So let's continue.
What kind of ratio in your understanding is acceptable?
Even the people who were killed
You've
in
spoken
the
for some length
embassy
now. What ratio is acceptable?
Combatants who were legitimately.
So if Mohammed Hijab was not talking right now, we would be learning so much. Alan knows international so well, and he's making such really important points. And Mohammed Hijab is just coming in and he's asking very idiotic, stupid questions, and he's making the value of this show a lot less, because this is a lot of wisdom here from everything that Alan is saying.
And saying
what ratio is
that
acceptable?
they were innocent.
What kind of ratio in your understanding is acceptable?
Even the people who were killed
You've
in
spoken
the
for some length
embassy
now. What
were
ratio is acceptable?
combatants who were legitimately killed.
Can you hear me or not?
As combatants.
What's an acceptable ratio for you?
So Iran has no right of self-defense against that. Israel was completely entitled to kill.
Let me answer what you just said.
Israel was entitled to kill any combatant that was high.
See, he lost. So Mohammed is like, okay, go ahead, because Alan realized that you shouldn't be. Look at this. Mohammed Hijab is this young man trying to be alpha. Alan is this old professional lawyer, and Alan just managed to not let Mohammed Hijab stop him. So Mohammed Hijab comes and he interrupts you, and all of a sudden you're like, people say, let me speak, let me finish my point. And then Mohammed Hijab ignores you, and then he makes his point, and he makes the entire conversation himself.
No, even says, can't you hear me? Is my microphone wrong? Bad?
Yes. But look, exactly. Alan is just making his point, completely ignoring Mohammed Hijab and just going to the end of his sentence. And Mohammed Hijab is surprised, because usually he bullies people around to submission, and Alan is not submitting to this wannabe alpha, and he's just going all the way to the end of his point. And Mohammed is like, what's happening? Wait, can you not hear me? And then when he says, okay, go ahead, he's realizing that he cannot make Alan submit. So he's pretending that he's allowing it to happen. Like, okay, go ahead, as if Alan needed your permission. Listen to that part. He said, like, okay, go ahead, because he lost. He didn't manage to. Yeah, he wasn't successful in bullying Alan.
Iran has no right of self-defense against that. Israel was completely entitled to kill.
Let me answer what you just said. Let me also-
Israel was
go ahead.
entitled to kill any combatant that was hiding in an embassy building. That's
on,
Like
hold
when
on,
a
hold
dog
on.
is barking
You've-
away from the cat.
Yes, exactly. No, but yeah, by the way, there's no point during this war that the Islamic Republic defended itself. Okay.
No.
It was always, every single time, it was Israel that was defending itself. Every single time the Islamic Republic was the aggressor, and every action, name me one action by Israel during ever since October 7th or even before that you could call it aggression. Every single action by Israel so far has been defending itself against aggression. So if you ask, can Iran defend itself, meaning the Islamic Republic, it's not even trying. They are the aggressors. Defend themselves against what? It's Israel that is defending itself against aggression by
So
Islamic
he's
Republic.
acting like
mean,
it was unprovoked, that the attack
Yes.
in the adjacent building to the embassy, which was a military base, that was unprovoked.
It wasn't even an embassy. It was
Yeah.
a consulate, and it wasn't even a consulate. It was a building next to the consulate. And even if it was in the consulate, these were generals having a military meeting to attack Israel. And once you use an embassy or a consulate for military purposes, you lose your protective status
Exactly.
under international law.
He's going to say some stupid things about it now. Let's hear.
Yeah.
Just conflated two things. You've spoken about the Argentinian case, which there is not actual an independent international investigation on, number one. And then you've spoken about, we speak about first.
The Argentinian courts investigated that. Look at he keeps moving the standard as if Argentina had like this, before this attack, had an anti-Israeli bias. Like, oh, we need to have international investigation because Argentina is famous to be biased against Israel before this attack. Like, I mean, bias against these Muslims. Yeah, bias pro-Israel. Like, Argentina had no dog in this game. Why would their courts come and investigate this and have a pro-Israeli bias? They would want to know who the fuck did this attack on their soil. That would be their agenda. But even if you have the courts in Argentina proving that this was the Islamic Republic, then you keep moving the goalposts. Like, no, we need an international investigation. I don't know. Even if you have an international investigation, you're going to move the goalpost again to something else. Like, you do that. It's like you never admit defeat. Everybody accepts, everybody knows. And even here's an interesting thing: the Islamic Republic officials, some of them sometimes bragged about what they did in Argentina. So we know that the attack on Jews in Argentina was conducted by the Islamic Republic. But again, if you're supporting terrorism, it doesn't really matter.
1st of April. Was that a response to Argentina? It was not a response to Argentina. When on the 1st of April, they bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, they did not do so. They said that is a military base and that we're attacking. But we all know that in this country, for example, every single...
The Islamic Republic of Iran is at war with Israel. First of all, the people that they killed in that so-called embassy, which wasn't even an embassy, the guy was Zahedi. The person that after he died, the Islamic Republic came and announced as a person that was, I think Roy just got disconnected. The Zahedi guy was a planner of October 7th attack. That's what the Islamic Republic's media announced themselves. So maybe they're bluffing, maybe they're not, but they that's what they're saying. That's the position. That was the official position of the Islamic Republic's media. But any action by Israel on the Islamic Republic will be self-defense, because the official position, guys, pay attention to this. The official position of the Islamic Republic of Iran by all its politicians is that they are aiming and planning to annihilate Israel and wipe it off the map. That's their official, that's a declaration of war. When Khamenei says that they will destroy Israel, when Raisi says that they will destroy Israel, when the leaders of IRGC say that they will annihilate Israel, that is a declaration of war. So anything Israel does against the Islamic Republic would be a defense. Would be a defense move. When you're claiming that, and again, this is not something they hide. This is something they say in every military demonstrations that they have, every main speech that they have. They come, if you ask them, like, yeah, of course we want to destroy Israel. So of course they are the aggressors. They don't even hide it. I don't know if Mohammed Hijab watches Iranian officials talk about Israel. Anyways.
The embassy has military attaches. They have military attaches. So if you go to the US embassy here in London, they have armed officers. Does that make it a viable target?
So he says because embassies around the world have guards, and if they have guards, does that mean every embassy is a legitimate target? No, you fucking moron. The point is that it wasn't just the guards, it was the generals meeting in that building with the purpose of making a plan to attack Israel. Why would Zahedi and Hamas leaders and Hezbollah leaders meet in the consulate together? Why would they come there planning attacks against Israel? Why would they be there?
They could be friends, you don't know.
Yeah, maybe maybe they were planning a picnic or something. All the top leaders were meeting together and Israel took them out. And again, this is against a country that has announced its intentions to annihilate Israel. So again, the declaration, this is different. Having Zahedi in the building next to the consulate, meeting with the other proxies of the Islamic Republic that are trying to attack Israel, that is different from having a consulate or an embassy that has guards at the door. The guards at the door, do you understand? Zahedi is different from just a normal guard that every single embassy or consulate that has. This is a member of a key leader of the IRGC, a terrorist organization. A terrorist organization. Anyways, continue.
Does it make the US embassy a viable target? The Russian embassy a viable target? This is clearly against the UN convention. It's against the Vienna Convention.
Again, it's against the UN convention to use the protective status of hospitals or embassies for military purposes. If you use, so for example, a UN convention says ambulances, for example, are protected. Hospitals are protected. Embassies are protected. Consulates are protected. And because they're protected, if the other country that has these consulates or embassies or hospitals or the state, they shouldn't be using them for military purposes. They are violating international law first.
Convention.
Not first, only. Not first. They are only.
Yeah.
It's not first. You said they are committing it first. No, they are only committing it. The side that attacks the place is not.
And again, this is not. We're not making this up. The Islamic Republic, when Zahedi was killed, they came like, "Oh, Zahedi, the mastermind behind October 7th."
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
They never introduced the beginning. They never introduced the why, right? Now Israel is occupying south of Lebanon again, right? They don't say.
Yeah.
They could even say maybe Hezbollah fired at Israel, so now they don't even mention the beginning, just the end.
Yeah.
Israel is not.
Anyways, let's let him speak for a while, because we have already answered a lot of his nonsense.
Against the Vienna Conventions, you cannot attack. You cannot attack an embassy of another nation in another sovereign land. You cannot do that. And
so let me respond to that.
No, hold on.
Let him answer.
Let me respond to that. Let me respond.
It's been
it was not an embassy. It was an ancillary building being used as a military center to plan attacks against Israel. They used the pretext of it being a building somehow attached to an embassy. The evidence is very clear.
Which is?
The evidence is that the Islamic Republic itself made it clear that Zahedi was there for these purposes.
And be happy to have them bring a lawsuit and see if it can be resolved in a court of law. But Israel was entitled.
Oh, Les is trying to buy my book. It's on Amazon. My book is on Amazon. You could buy it from Amazon. There's also a free version of it, PDF version of it in the description of our videos. Well, thank you, Les.
To regard who was killed, the people who were killed were military people who were planning attacks on Israel.
That's not true.
Using
there were civilians that were
an
also
annex to
killed.
a building
There were civilians
to
that
do
were
it.
also killed.
That does not negate what he said. He said
Yeah.
the attack was on military leaders trying to attack on Israel. He said that's not true. There were civilians that are also killed. That does not negate what he just said. If there were civilians that were also killed, that does not make it. That does not contradict what Alan is saying. They took out. Of course, there's civilians. There's always civilians. I don't know. Maybe the person that was making them tea got killed as well. That's a civilian. The fact that a civilian died in that building, that does not mean that the meeting was not between IRGC leaders and the proxy leaders to plan an attack on Israel. Alan's point still stands. He's such a I don't know. This is basic logic.
Did that justify 3,000 rockets being sent into Israel?
Hold on. Let
and then
me respond.
180 ballistic missiles?
Wait, 3,000? You mean 300?
No,
I think Alan
300,
spoke.
yeah, it wasn't 3,000.
Yeah, Alan is 300, not 3,000. 3,000. Islamic Republic wishes it could. 3,000? No.
No,
it wasn't even
you think they're unable to fire 3,000 rockets?
That would be the end of their that would be 50%. Like they would be left defenseless if they fly 3,000.
Yeah, that's the numbers.
How much I haven't told. No, I mean that would be a huge portion of it. Like it would take decades to replace that if they send 3,000. Yeah, I mean they can send 3,000, but then they will be left empty-handed. It would take decades to replace it. But yeah, so I think Alan misspoke that it wasn't even 300 missiles. It was 300 missiles and drones. The vast majority of them wasn't even able to reach Israel's border.
People who were planning attacks on Israel.
That's not true.
Using an annex to a building to do it. Did that justify 3,000 rockets being sent into Israel?
Hold on. Let me respond.
180 ballistic missiles.
Have you made your
maybe
point?
meant from Hezbollah. Maybe
Huh?
meant from Hezbollah. Maybe I'm like doing. Maybe
You made your point.
Not.
Okay. The response is as follows. First of all, 16 people were killed officially, and of them, there were 2 civilians that were killed. So what you're saying is only military targets?
He didn't say only military targets. He never said only. By the way, that's a fantastic ratio. You said 16
Amazing.
people killed, 2 people civilian. Wow, like so the ratio is
16
usually
important people.
Yes,
It wasn't like 16 soldiers.
Yeah, these are
Important.
16 high officials, like top leaders of IRGC and Iranian and the Islamic Republic's proxies, 2 civilians. So usually the ratio that we accept is 4 to 1 civilians per combatant. But you're saying only 2 civilians died and from 16 people dead? That's like, again, Israel should be congratulated that they managed to have such targeted attacks with such low collateral damage. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Israel. This is amazing. Unbelievable.
This is flatly false, squarely false, barefaced lie. You're a liar, as you were a liar when you were defending Epstein. That's number 1. Number 2 is, when you say that, okay, that was a response. When Iran then, on the 14th of April, responded with missiles, once again, how many casualties were there? How many casualties were there? 0. Just like there were 0 casualties.
It wasn't. Well, actually, the word isn't 0 casualties. You managed to kill Jordanians.
Yeah.
Freaking like you managed to kill people because outside of Israel. Unfortunately, it's not. So the casual, and also there was a girl, young Israeli
Bedouin.
Arab that was severely injured.
Bedouin girl.
Yeah, Bedouin girl. So
Bedouin.
unfortunately, you guys managed to kill only Arabs and Palestinians every time you attack Israel. And
Like, what about the intent? It's like missing the intent.
Yeah,
We threw everything we have at
it's
them,
not-
but no one died, so we're fine. Nothing. That's fine.
yeah, and it's also but that's what I was saying. It's not because for the lack of trying.
Yeah.
Is the reason why you have so low casualties is because you suck. Because your missiles. I mean, Mohammed Hijab, you just recently came and humiliated the Islamic Republic for its missiles not achieving anything. So if you see it, and it's also it's actually 2 reasons. First of all, your missiles suck. Two, Israel spends a lot of resources defending its civilians, unlike the Islamic Republic of Iran, unlike Hamas, unlike Hezbollah. The reason why you have such low casualties is because how obsessed Israel is when it comes to defending its civilians. That's the reason. So yeah, like, oh, we're not in the wrong. We tried to kill you and we failed. So
he says the
we
same
failed.
thing
So
with Hezbollah. He says, look, Hezbollah killed 300 soldiers and only 600 civilians. The IDF killed 40,000. Yeah, but the Israelis wasn't killed because they were in the way of the soldiers. He says that.
Yeah, it's like if you come and try to kill my children and I disarm you and I break your hand and you go to court and you're like, look, judge, my hand is broken. And then he says, well, I respond like, well, he was trying to kill my kids. I like, well, but sir, but judge, look at his children. His children are completely fine. There's not a scratch on any of their bodies. So, but my arm has been broken, but his children are fine. Like, what the hell? Okay, so yeah, because I stopped you.
When they responded recently in October. Not one person died except for one Palestinian, ironically enough, that was apparently killed in the October one.
Ironically.
But in the April one, no one died. It was precise strikes at military bases. Number two, you speak about this being a base. As I say now.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any evidence for that. It was precise.
I mean, our evidence is the statements by Islamic Republic itself. Like they don't hide these things.
If you look at Collins' dictionary right now, there's two aspects of what is a military base, vernacularly speaking. Number one is that there has to be weapons in that place, and number two, that there has to be training of soldiers. This is usually understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up.
No.
Those are made up stories. There's no truth to that at all.
What's made up? Which part?
Wait, what
It could be a school. It could be a headquarters.
What did he just say, Mohammed Hijab? I didn't get it. What is his claim? Hold on, let's go back.
A base must have weapons or a training of soldiers. That's it. That constitutes a base, a military base.
No, wait, hold on. Oh, he's talking about the concept.
It's so stupid that you don't believe me.
Bases. Number two, you speak about this being a base. As I say now, if you look at Collins' dictionary right now, there's two aspects of what is a military base, vernacularly speaking. Number one is that there has to be weapons in that place, and number two, that there has to be training of soldiers. This is usually understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up. Those are made up stories. There's no truth to that at all.
No, it's a legitimate. If your generals are meeting in a place to plan an attack on your country, that's a legitimate target.
What's made up? Which part of it is made up?
There's no truth to that.
Let him respond.
I haven't finished my point. I haven't finished my point yet.
The fact that you need weapons.
No,
let me finish what I'm saying.
That's just made up. You don't need weapons to have a military base. It could be a command center where they're planning.
I'm very impressed how Alan calmly is talking over Mohammed Hijab, and he's basically not letting Mohammed Hijab bully him, even though he's calm and not shouting. But Mohammed Hijab, even though he's shouting, he can't bully around, make Alan submit. This is very impressive how calmly Alan is just walking over Mohammed Hijab.
Hold on, let me finish.
That's just made up.
Let me finish. The
more you say, the happier I am.
Okay. What I'm saying to you is that if you look at almost every Western government embassy in the West and outside of the West, they have military attaches. You can fact check this. You can go online.
Are the military attaches planning an attack on another country? Are they trying to annihilate? Are they trying to kill civilians in that other country? If I go to a U.S. embassy and I see the embassy has guards, are these guards spending their time making plans to attack civilians, target civilians in the country? No, they're not. If they were, that would be a legitimate target.
You will see in the US embassy, in the French embassy, in the British embassy, military guards, people there that have their own weapons and guns. So according to you, that would be a military base. See,
no. That's not the argument.
Are they then legitimate?
What happened?
According to you, that's...
Yeah.
In this case, was they used an annex of a building
Can we then contravene the Vienna agreements? Can we then conventions. Can we
you
then?
don't know what
can
you're
we
talking
then,
about. You have
Okay,
no
hold on.
knowledge of international law or diplomacy
Wait.
law, the law of
You
war.
haven't got
So
one
please.
peer-reviewed. You don't have one peer-reviewed.
He's like, wait. This is Hamas. This is Hamas. Mohammed Hijab trying to control the argument, and Alan is not submitting at all. This is pretty impressive.
Immediately jumping
work
to
on international law. And Jimmy
authority.
Carter,
Fallacy from
the former
argument
US
from
president,
authority.
said, you have no knowledge of Palestine. Don't speak to me about Palestine issues. Jimmy Carter,
Well,
a former president of the United States, as you acknowledge, you've written it in your book, he says that you have no knowledge of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter.
I mean, Mohammed Hijab, you are trying. This guy is an expert in international law. You are trying to attack his credentials. I mean, whatever, even if they're not that high, which they are definitely higher than yours.
Are you?
Like, I don't understand. Yeah,
Who are you?
Who are you? Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to dismiss Alan for having not be an expert, then you should dismiss yourself then as part of this. His credentials are much higher than yours, whatever they are.
Said that.
But Dershowitz doesn't have any diplomacy of international law.
Yeah, and neither does Mohammed Hijab.
Of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter said that. Don't speak to me like that.
Well, you want to hear something?
Yeah,
Jimmy Carter is Jimmy Carter is the person that backed the mullahs against the Pahlavis, and basically Jimmy Carter is responsible for why all of us are in this mess.
Yeah.
The whole point, the Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, it's all because one of the main reasons is Carter stopping his support for Mohammad Reza Shah and letting the mullahs take over Iran, and now the mullahs are supporting all of this terrorism. So yeah, I don't know if if that's a good source of. I don't know if Carter is going to be a good source for judging who's in the right here.
He says that you have no knowledge of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter said that. Don't speak to me
well,
like that.
you want to hear something?
Yeah,
it
the only
was in
thing you
my
have knowledge
book.
about is where the doors and the rooms and the masseuses
It was in the back cover. It was the back cover of my book.
That's what you have knowledge of.
I've written 13 books.
Did you touch Virginia?
Did you touch
her?
on Israel?
Did you touch Virginia?
Some of which
Did you touch her? Did you touch that woman?
Never heard of her. Never met her. Never met her.
Don't lie. Don't lie to me. Did you touch that woman or not?
I'm telling you, I never met her, and she acknowledged
Did you touch that woman?
under oath
Did you
that
sexually
she may
assault her?
have
You have
no
confused
knowledge
me
of his
with
He's answering your question.
someone else.
You wouldn't be
I'm asking
asking
him a
him.
question.
You're
Okay, so
repeating.
why are you defending him? Has he not
Because he
over?
won a case. It was.
He has nothing. I think he realized that when it comes to international law, he has no idea what you're talking about. So he was making some baseless claim, and Alan calmly basically was attacking every single one of them. Then he went after his credentials, and Alan was pointing out that I've written a lot of book about this. I actually know what I'm talking about. I'm an expert at this. So instead of because he knows how embarrassing that would look to show that actually this is a knowledgeable man about international law, he interrupted him, and then interrupted him with what? Did you
He's a pervert.
Virginia? Yeah,
He's a pervert now.
Oh,
what the hell? So what?
Yeah,
So what?
I asked you a question regarding international law. Oh, you're going to answer me? Let me actually interrupt you by actually questioning your credentials. Oh, you're going to actually defend your credentials? Let me interrupt you by telling you, did you touch Virginia? Did you touch Virginia? This is a man that has nothing. He knows that he will lose this by every metric. From a logical metric, he will lose this. From an understanding of international law, he will lose this. From a credential perspective, he will lose this. So the only thing he could do is shout, "Did you touch Virginia?" And Alan was like, "Who the fuck is Virginia?" Like, what?
Did you touch that woman?
Under oath?
Did you
that
sexually
she may
assault her?
have
You have no
confused
knowledge
me
of
with
his case,
someone
do you?
else.
You wouldn't be
I'm asking him a
saying
question.
you're
Okay,
repeating.
Why are you defending him? Has he not left
Why
Because
are
he
you
won a
defending
case.
He's like, why are you defending him? He won that case in the court of law. That's why he's defending him, because he won it.
Also, is it the mediator, right? He should say, well, you're shouting, and maybe if you would know this, you would shut the fuck up. So this is what I'm saying to you.
Oh my God.
It was proven to be lies.
I'm asking him a
Why are
question.
you doing this?
I'm asking him a question.
This is not
I'm
about
asking
his.
you a question.
He's
Don't
like,
you love that?
I'm asking him a question.
Yeah.
Well, he answered your fucking question, you idiot.
Also,
like-
inappropriate question. It has nothing to do with anything. What do you mean? I just asking a question. Don't ask
Like,
this
Armin,
question.
do you beat Armin? Have you beaten your wife? And like, no, I don't beat my wife. Well, Armin, answer the question. Do you beat your wife? I just answered. Do you beat her? Do you beat her? Nope. Do you beat her, Armin? Do you beat her? Do you beat her? Like, okay, how many times do I have to answer this? Like, and then let's say you accuse me and you take me to court of law, and Roy comes and defends me. Like, Armin doesn't beat his wife. Why are you defending him, Roy? I'm just well, because he showed in the court that he doesn't beat his wife. Like, oh, why are you defending him? I just asked him a question. Well, yeah, and we answered you. Like, why you keep asking the question that everybody has answered? Like, why are you defending him? Does Armin have leverage over you, Roy? No, I just saw in court that Armin won that case. I don't know.
We all know that between you
trying to
and
be
your wife, if
clever,
anyone, between you and your wife, if anyone is getting the beating, it's probably you.
No, that's not true.
No, I'm kidding.
No, I wouldn't. There's no beating in this household, and I would not tolerate. First of all, my wife is very nice, and she would not even think about beating me. But if I was in a toxic relationship with a woman that wanted to beat me, I wouldn't be such a pushover for me to let her do that. There's no way I would tolerate that. I would defend myself against any guys. Don't let this whole new wave of feminism think like you should be defending yourself against all Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that. Yeah, no. Okay. All right. Continue.
The case. It was proven to be lies.
I'm asking him
Why
a question.
are you doing this?
I'm asking him a question.
This is not about Israel.
This is
You're trying to be a clever dick, but all you're doing is inviting a lawsuit from Alan, which you will get.
I'm ready for it.
You are?
Yeah.
Really?
I've got 4 defamation cases, all of which your friend Douglas Murray, I'm taking him to court.
Well, good luck with taking on Alan on this, is all I would say.
I'm ready for him. Oh, you love him, don't you?
This is one case.
I just wonder what he has.
Defending himself.
I just wonder what leverage he has. Does he have?
I would be interested to see if he's going to get ruined financially with all these defamation lawsuits.
Any leverage on you?
And I'm not competent to resolve whether Israel has the capacity to destroy Iran's nuclear ability without too many civilian casualties.
Okay, Mohammed, do you
That's
think
a military question.
Mohammed, do you think Hezbollah are terrorists or freedom fighters?
I have an antithetical view to Hezbollah, and that's been well documented in the record.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't. No, Piers shouldn't be asking him that question because Hezbollah. It's easier for Mohammed Hijab to take an anti-Hezbollah stance compared to Hamas, right? Because among Sunnis there's a huge disagreements over this, and Mohammed Hijab is one of those people who is more anti-Shia than somebody like Daniel Hayraju. So taking positions against, given that Hezbollah is Shia. So he would not condemn Hamas, but it's easier for Mohammed Hijab to take positions against Hezbollah because Hezbollah is Shia. So, I mean, that would be an easy win for him to basically,
However,
what's your view? I don't know.
Well, I tell you one thing. I'm not going to be baited into a sectarian debate here.
Asking you if you comment about Hezbollah.
Sure.
Oh, see, so he knows. Okay, so this is very tricky because Mohammed Hijab has followers that would want to see a Shia-Sunni unity against Israel. But he also have a lot of followers that are aggressively anti-Shia, and he has to be very careful to not lose, because the main thing that Mohammed Hijab is trying to do is to make sure that he keeps his Islamic following and the people that see him as a hero. And this is a very divisive issue, and he doesn't want to get into sectarian debates. Every time he takes an anti-Shia position, he waits for the Shias to humiliate themselves and have a weak anti-Israeli stance, then attack them. Because he doesn't. Because if the Shias are the only people that are being strong against Israel, then it's not very convenient for you to show your anti-Shia stance, because at that point, many Muslims are saying that this is the point of unity. So whenever these people take an anti-Islamic Republic, or anti-Hezbollah stance, they wait for Israel to humiliate them, and that's the time that they attack Hezbollah and the Islamic Republic, because then they have both sides. They have the anti-Shia Sunnis defending them, but they also have the Sunnis who want a strong position against Israel. They also would admit they are more likely to take your stance on this because you're attacking them not because they're Shia, but because they were pathetic when it comes to taking a tough stance against Israel. So again, I'm teaching you these things so you know how the sectarian internal fighting. And again, we have people right now within the Dawah community that are pro the Islamic Republic because they are the only government that is standing up against Israel. People like Daniel Hayraju are like that right now. But we also have people like Mohammed Hijab who are every time the Islamic Republic takes an action against Israel, because they are more anti-Shia, they use that as an opportunity to show that the attack was not that significant. So there's an internal fighting going on right now. Yeah. Anyways, let's continue.
I don't necessarily have an antithetical view to Hezbollah. However, on this case, what I mean by that is that I don't necessarily support them in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
How do you
categorize them?
I categorize
because they're Shia. Piers, because they're Shia, not because they're terrorists, because they're Shia.
He's going to say that he supports them when they do this, but he's against them when they do this. So can he say the same thing about the IDF? Yeah, the IDF, I support them when they do this, or does he condemn them totally?
The idea for anti-Shia Sunnis is that anything that that harms Israel, they will celebrate that, even if it comes from the devil. And by the devil, sometimes they mean the Shia.
Also,
how do you categorize them?
I categorize Hezbollah in their response to Israel as justified in that response.
And in the response for Assad in Syria,
clearly
against fellow Arabs?
Yeah, well, you and I both know that I have an antithetical view. I don't think that they were on the right side of history then. I do think they were acting in
So they were terrorists then?
Well, I mean, it depends on how. I think the word terrorism is a social construct.
What were they?
Wait a minute. Now terrorist is a social construct, but Mohammed Hijab himself was asking on this very show other people to call IDF a terrorist institution, a terrorist group. So how come now when they're asking you this question, well, I think the term terrorist is a social construct. Again, these are different
social constructs. Military is a social construct.
Yes, I mean, yeah, exactly. A country is a social construct. Palestine is a social construct.
Yeah.
Wob is saying Hamas isn't Shia. Wob, I didn't say Hamas is Shia. I said Hezbollah is Shia. Yeah,
Islam is a social construct.
Yes, exactly. God is a social construct.
Yeah.
What were they when they fought for Assad?
Oppressive, and that's on the record. There's no doubt about it. On the 8th of, you talked about the 8th of October, when they fired on the 8th.
Yeah, so is Hamas. Would you say Hamas is oppressive? So Hezbollah is oppressive because it was Shia versus Sunni. But would you say Hamas is oppressive? Hamas has been oppressive in Gaza towards Palestinians.
8th of October, they fired, and you can go ahead and bring evidence that they fired anywhere else other than the Sheba farms. They fired on the Sheba farms. After that, there was response from Israel. And then after that, because there was response of Israel into Lebanon, then Hezbollah attacked the northern part of Israel. This is what happened. And that is justified according to international law. So on this issue, you will not find differences between Sunnis and Shias.
Wait, I don't know what you're saying. Hezbollah attacked on October 8th into Israel. They weren't the ones who started it. They didn't even.
No. He's saying that there is a Shiva Farms, a place that is supposedly occupied by Israel from Lebanon. If it's occupied, is by Syria, from Syria, but some say that it's from Lebanon. So he says that Hezbollah fired there, so they are justified. And then the military, the IDF responded. So now it's like a cat and mouse. But the IDF responded to Hezbollah, and Hezbollah fired rockets at civilians. So it's not justified at all.
Right. Okay.
Shias, you'll not find differences in us. We are all united in the hatred of the Zionist entity. All right. Okay, I'm telling you, on the 23rd of September.
Yeah, like I said, there's nothing that unites Muslim more than hating Jews.
Yeah.
Not even Tawheed. Not even Tawheed unites Muslims more than the hatred of Jewish people.
Israel attacked Lebanon. How many people died? How many civilians died, according to the Lebanese health, the Ministry of Health?
I believe it's about 2,000 was the last recorded number I saw.
No, in one day. On the 23rd of September.
Including combatants, including many combatants.
No, on the 23rd, how many died? How many died? Why don't we have a year commemorating the 23rd of a year commemorating the 23rd of September? Since we're having a year commemorating the 7th of October, and about 600 people died, 650 people, civilians died on that day. That's quite close, isn't it?
We have said this so many times. One of them was targeting civilians. The other one was not targeting civilians. That's the most important part.
They don't know they're
8,000.
civilians. They don't distinguish
8,000?
between
8,000
civilians
people
and
were
combatants.
We're not talking about.
Again, so if Hamas could kill 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 1 million, and 9 million Israelis, they would, right? So the reason why we had 1,000, 1,200 Israelis dying on October 7th is because Hamas couldn't kill more Israelis.
They didn't stop. They were like, yeah, guys, that's it.
Yeah.
Come on, that's it.
Yeah, yes, that's enough. Yes.
No, that's proportional. Let's stop.
Yes. See, the reason why is we have 40,000 people dying in Gaza is because Israel couldn't find a way to make it lower, right? But the reason why we have 1,200 dying in Israel on October 7th because Hamas couldn't find a way to make it higher. That's the difference.
Attack. We're talking about dead. What's wrong with you? Why are you not looking at me again? You're crying. Are you crying?
Because the viewers are seeing the three of us together.
I see that there's tears in your eyes.
There are no tears in my eyes.
So you see that's why you've had to plagiarize books in order to make your case from John Peters.
What are you saying again?
What?
Say that again.
You've had to plagiarize books because you're clearly your knowledge on this issue.
Oh, this is so good. Look, Alan wanted to make sure that he says it again because that's another case for him. Look, Alan is like, say that again. Like Alan wants that to be recorded.
That's why you've had to plagiarize books in order.
This is not, guys. This is not just ad hominem. This is actually an accusation, right? And it's an accusation. It's defamation. This is why the lawyer Alan here is like, oh, here's another case for me. So he wants to hear it. Look at this part.
To make your case from John Peters
what are you saying again?
Finkelstein caught you out. You've had to plagiarize books because you're clearly your knowledge on this issue.
Well, now we have another.
For your
now
age
we have another
is
count.
Ridiculous. According to the US,
now we have
Gaza,
another count.
the West Bank, and East Jerusalem
wait a minute. We have another
an
count
occupied
in the
territory.
lawsuit again.
Like, this is so funny. Like, you shouldn't make accusations like this to a lawyer. This is dangerous.
No, you think if
Muhammad
he's going,
I don't know what's.
you think if he's going to add, in my opinion, you plagiarized the book. Now it's fine.
I don't know. This could find. I mean, even if Alan doesn't win, he could make you drown in legal fees trying to defend yourself.
Against you. You've accused me of plagiarism, even though Harvard University conducted a thorough and complete study, totally vindicated me, and blamed it on Finkelstein, who then lost tenure for making a false charge against me of plagiarism. But you're repeating that charge. Count two.
Why have the...
I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. He could completely. I don't know why Mohammed Hijab is this dumb. Like this part, the fact that he's like not making good points and just like acting alpha. That part is not dumb because that's what gets him the followers and views. But this part, making accusations against a lawyer,
a millionaire lawyer with like a whole team that can waste a lot of time and energy in suing you.
Yes, that could ruin you, Mohammed Hijab. This could be like, I don't know. If I was you, I would be calling him and begging him to forgive you.
Organs of the United Nations condemned the occupation of Israel. Why? The ICC, the ICJ.
They have condemned the civilian.
Only the West Bank, also the West Bank, and only the civilian settlements, not the military, occupation. That's completely justified. That part is not illegal under international.
The occupation of Israel. Why? The ICC, the ICJ.
They have condemned the civilian aspects of the occupation. They have condemned the building of settlements, which I also condemn.
What you're saying.
I disagree with Alan, by the way. Here, I used to condemn the civilian settlements in the West Bank. I recognize that is against international laws, but given that losing West Bank could basically be an existential crisis for Israel, I think if you have to choose between following international law and staying alive, I would go with staying alive, right? So I think like Israel should not give up the West Bank. And unfortunately, the problem here is that the international law in this case is wrong.
military occupation.
You're lying just like you
designed to
had
keep
to
the
when you
peace.
defended the.
Stop it.
He's not lying. That is international law. He knows this.
Yes,
Mohammed,
yes,
for
Epstein.
goodness sake.
Why?
It's pathetic.
Why? Why is it pathetic?
Attacking lawyers for defending people is so pathetic.
Being the national position on the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank is that it's illegal. It's effective military control. So you don't know what you are talking about. And if that was possible, if it's okay for once.
He's talking a lawyer expert in international law. He's telling him that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Unbelievable.
Nation, a sovereign nation, to go ahead and occupy another one, then sorry to say, Russia and Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine, the same thing, the same
So
argument
what
can
you're
be made.
saying, your position
That's
is that when a country is attacked and it wins the war, it must leave the next day. No country has ever done that. You continue the military occupation until all belligerency ends.
Many of the
belligerency ends
conventions
in the
that were
West
put in
Bank,
place.
Yeah. This is
Exactly.
the This has been the standard for every other country. Exactly.
Put in
all
place after
belligerency
World War
ends.
In fact, if anything, Israel has done more than other countries. Israel has left the Sinai Peninsula as soon as there was a peace agreement signed, like an area of land bigger than the entirety of Israel today. Israel left Gaza before the hostility ended in Gaza against Israel. Other countries hold the place until the threats are gone, and then they leave. But Israel gave up Gaza before that happened. In fact, Israel has been way more too lenient, I think. It has been. I mean, Israel is suffering right now today because it was too
lenient.
Too lenient. It was too accepting of the international demand, even though it was. So, for example, if Israel never had to give up the Sinai Peninsula, and if it had that, right now, October 7th wouldn't happen. October 7th wouldn't happen if it hadn't let go of that, and it didn't have to. It was just showing good faith. It was like, oh, you guys want to sign a peace treaty? Here's an area of land that we captured that we don't have to give you, that is bigger than the entirety of the Israel today. And here, sure, Egypt, you can have it if you just promise to have peace. It's unbelievable. Oh, Gaza, the international community. Yeah,
he mentions He mentions that any military occupation is illegal. So if Mexico flash attacks United States and United States wins, that's it. The next day, all of the military should stop, let them import weapons, let them rearm themselves, let them do everything the next day. Otherwise, it's a military occupation, which is illegal. That's what he has in mind.
I mean, why would Israelis even trust the international community anymore? They were promised peace and stability for everything they gave up. Like when they gave up Sinai Peninsula, when they gave up Gaza, when they gave up so many other places, every time they give in to the international community for the promises of peace, it backfired. Every time they crushed their enemy and won in war, they got more peace. So given that record, why should Israelis trust the international community? Like, they have the record of what works. Yeah.
In the Gaza Strip,
you asked me a question.
The occupation should end.
Okay.
There should not be civilian settlements.
So it's a fallacy,
but there should be
and
a
this
military attempt to control belligerency. That's the law.
You asked me your position, and then you've.
Well, he tried to answer you, but once again, you shouted over him, so people can't hear the answer.
Wait a minute. Do you agree with him?
What about whether I agree with him or not?
Do you agree with him?
Let the man
Why are you
answer
running
your
away
question.
from this? Do you agree with the legitimacy of
You
occupation?
shout over the answer.
Is it okay for one country to occupy another sovereign nation? Is it okay?
Do you know what is okay?
Yes or no?
Sovereign nation? Wait, when did Palestine become a sovereign nation? Is he talking about
No, maybe he meant Israel is a sovereign nation. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe.
No, he was saying, when is it okay for another country to occupy a sovereign nation? I'm like, I don't know. Is that what he said? Because hold on, let me bring him back. Because that seemed. Let me bring him back. Oh, thank you, Roy. That's sweet. Thanks, Roy. Hold on, let me see this last one.
Well, he tried to answer you, but once again, you shouted over him, so people can't hear the answer.
Wait a minute. Do you agree with him?
What about whether I agree with him or not?
Do you agree with him?
Let the man
Why are you
answer
running
your
away
question.
from this? Do you agree with the
you ask
legitimacy
a question
of
and you
occupation?
shout over the answer.
Is it okay for one country to occupy another sovereign nation? Is it okay or
Do you
not?
know what?
Another sovereign nation. Did I miss the memo here? Did Palestine, guys? Is Palestine a sovereign nation? Is he talking about Palestine?
There was never a sovereign nation in this land for literally thousands of years. Never.
Actually, yeah, no, not for 1,000 years ever. In just for infinity years. Like this was never. I mean,
Judea.
Israel tried to make it a sovereign nation. Palestinians said no because they couldn't accept
Judea,
having
Judea.
Israel as a country. Oh,
Judea.
No, I'm talking about the Palestine part. The Palestine part
Yeah,
has never been a sovereign
Never.
nation. Ever.
Ever.
Does he not even know that? I don't know. Wait, guys, I'm looking for Piers
super chat?
Morgan's tweet.
There are no super chats, guys. What's
No.
up?
No, that's okay. That's okay. But I'm looking for the people saying that Mohammed Hijab was banned from Piers Morgan. If somebody could send me that tweet, because I want to make sure that that's true.
Okay.
I
In the
don't know.
meantime,
That's okay.
what I was going to say, why does he even get Piers Morgan involved in this? Why does he ask him, do you agree with this? Why? What does it have anything to do with anything?
I know why. Because he was humiliated by Alan. Like Alan was just calmly responding to everything. He looked like a fool. Alan looked like a professional. Alan was calm. He was, so all over the place. He looked like a barbarian. So
Exactly.
he knew that he had not much over Alan, and he was realizing how bad he looks. He was trying to drag Piers into this to save him. He was like trying to challenge Piers because he wanted Piers to get involved so that he could distract from the humiliation of the entire debate. I think that was what's happening. That's what's happening.
Exactly.
Anyways, we got a super chat. HD Drake is saying Japan and Germany were actual sovereign nations, and yet it was okay for US to occupy them. Yeah, I mean,
but it was before the.
Yeah.
That's what he said. The agreements were after the Second World War. That's what Muhammad said.
Yeah, there is no blank international laws against occupation. There's no that doesn't exist. Lisa saying, I go back and forth on the West Bank, but after they found the cache of weapons. Oh, hold on. Let me read that. Cache of weapons and motorcycles. I was like, fuck it. If they can't act right, keep it. It's not that. The point is that Israel has a huge vulnerability when it comes to strategic depth. Okay, when it comes to if Israel loses the West Bank, it will be always extremely vulnerable to complete annihilation if Palestine becomes an Islamic radical country, because the borders between the distance between Tel Aviv and its borders are like 30 seconds walking distance. I'm just joking, but it's like so unbelievable. There's no defense system advanced enough to be able to protect Tel Aviv from even basic missiles coming from that border. And basically,
it's not. Maybe people don't know. It's not just in Tel Aviv. It's across most of the country. It's very, very narrow across most of the country.
So if you lose access to the West Bank and the West Bank becomes an Islamic Republic, and maybe at the beginning they're not anti-Israel, but maybe after the influence of because once they're an independent nation state, then it would be a violation of international law for you to tell them to stop piling missiles on their borders, or like they could do whatever they want. They could get under the influence of the Islamic Republic, and now Israel could be wiped away. There's nothing Israel can do. Like there is no technology advanced enough to be able to stop them from just wiping out Israel. So that's why it makes absolutely no sense to give up West Bank for the survival. It would be absolutely irresponsible for the survival of Israelis. This is not a religious argument. This is a survival argument. Okay.
Yeah.
Israel should never give up West Bank. It should never give up West Bank.
I heard someone says that the Palestinians can allow themselves to lose and lose and lose until they succeed, but Israel can't. We can't lose until we succeed. We have only one try.
Yes. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you so much to Gene and Roy. I'm gonna go get ready for a debate. I have a debate on my Persian channel with a mullah from Iran. Yes, about the Quran. He's gonna explain to me how we atheists do not understand how to understand what the Quran is saying. So there's if you speak Persian, come to the Persian channel. It's called Jumhuriya Bi Khodayan. Watch my debate with this mullah. It's happening in about an hour. So
Be
yeah,
humble. You might learn
for that.
something.
Yes, I am. I am actually humble. I'm gonna every time I go into a debate, every time I go to a debate with these mullahs, I go with this mindset that, you know what, let's consider the chance that I might be wrong, and he's gonna teach me something. Okay. I always go into the debate with that mindset. I'm like, let's not go with the mindset like, oh, this is an idiot that I'm going to humiliate in front of my audience. I'm going to crush him. I always go into that debate like, okay, Armin, you could be wrong. He could be right. Let's see his argument. That's how I go into the debate, right? So we'll see. We'll see. So if I come on the next show as a Muslim, it's because this mullah managed to convince me that the Quran is actually the word of God and I should take it seriously. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how that is. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Shelly. All right, guys. Make sure you like the stream. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you recommend the Atheist Republic YouTube channel to your friends, and your enemies, and to strangers and everyone else. Please, we need word. I wouldn't be asking you this if it wasn't important. Word of mouth is the best way to get a channel growing. So please go and tell people to come and subscribe to Atheist Republic on YouTube. Our channel is growing fast, and we're gonna get to 100K soon, hopefully. All right, guys. Bye. Mwah.
Bye, everyone.